Technology has always brought man to the front of a new era. Old religions die and new religions are born. And now we all have arrived at a turning point in history. Folks, we are about to be plugged into the Matrix for real. I'm not kidding. You can look around you and see it happening in real time. We have reached a new milestone where 4 billion people are now using the internet. Today, people want to kick out this reality and usher in a new reality. One without boundaries, without discrimination, racism, and hatred. A world where you can be who you want, do what you want, to who you want, without the interference or consequence of morality or God. Little do these people realize that this is where we are headed. The movie The Matrix was just a tale of science fiction, yes, but it is beginning to look more like a documentary every day. Now, some may scoff at this idea and say, "You're just fear-mongering. That's not going to happen, you conspiracy theory nut." Well, I may be a nut, but there is no conspiracy when the information is made public to you. That's just you not being aware of it. So we are going to take a closer look at this, because right now, something is happening that you may not be aware of. A sentient simulation of our world in real time. No, this is not a video game, folks. But for those who think it is, I have a question. Are you ready, player one? A sentient being is simply a being that has feelings. So when you take that word and place it in front of the words world simulation, that should raise an eyebrow. Now, creating a world simulation is not a new concept. Even a sentient one has been attempted over and over. For the public, these often came in the form of video games. The problem with these models is that they have to be constantly changed and upgraded every time there is a major event, new trend, or change in the real world. The sentient world simulation does this automatically. So what this is a synthetic mirror of the world we live in. Not a piece of it, but the entire world. And this program constantly recalibrates the simulation based on real-time world events, trends, theories, economics, industry, almost everything you can think of that would contribute to an accurate model. Not to mention the individual pieces of data on every single person represented in the simulation. So to put this in perspective, what this is a digital clone of our world and everyone in it. Now, this is a collaborative effort that has been forming for a number of years, but didn't really start to take off until around the early part of this century. You know, when Bush was in office. And the reason for this is because laws have to be passed if you want to openly collect data on the population in the name of national security and defense. So, since there is really no single person to thank for this, I'll just let you know who are the major players involved. How many of you have ever heard of Simulex Incorporated? This is a graphic software development company that conveniently started in 2001 that is regularly contracted by the US government. And what they have created with resources from Purdue University's Krannert School of Management and the US Department of Defense, along with a few other very large companies, is SEAS, Synthetic Environments for Analysis and Simulation. Oh, make no mistake about it, folks. This is very real. You're probably thinking, well, what does this have to do with me? Everything. This is how it works. This program collects data. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing right now, this system is compiling data on you. And not just about where you are and what you are doing, but how you are feeling. Because after all, you cannot truly have an accurate simulation without factoring in real human emotion. Right now, there is a miniature digital version of you living, meaning in a sentient nature, in a synthetic digital environment. People, this is the Sims game from hell. Do you know that with this program, I can throw you into a scenario where there is a catastrophe just to see how you react to it, essentially gaining the ability to predict your next move. According to a concept paper put out by experimentation engineering lead Tony Seri and Dr. Alok Chaturvedi of Purdue University in 2006, the set of models that make up the synthetic environment encompasses the behavior of individuals, organizations, institutions, infrastructures, and geographies while simultaneously capturing the trends emerging from the interaction among entities as well as between entities and the environment. I want to make this very clear. This is not a conspiracy theory. Your data is being collected. What data, you say? Internet searches, websites visited, emails sent and received, social media activity like Facebook, Twitter, etc., blogging activity including posts read, written, and commented on, videos watched and or uploaded online, photos viewed and or uploaded online, mobile phone GPS location data, mobile phone apps downloaded, phone call records, text messages sent and received, Skype video calls, online purchases and auction transactions, credit card, debit card transactions, financial information, legal documents, travel documents, health records, cable television shows watched and recorded, commuter toll records, electronic bus and subway passes, smart passes, facial recognition data from surveillance cameras, educational records, arrest records, driver license information. And yes, they have plenty of storage space for it all. In fact, let me show you a couple of things as we head over to the NSA website. Here under the Utah Data Center specifications, it reads, in February 2012, Utah Governor Gary R. Herbert revealed that the Utah Data Center would be the first facility in the world expected to gather and house a yottabyte. And the ultimate capacity will definitely be a lot of bytes. Now, how many of you have heard of that? Well, I don't know about a lot of bytes, but they certainly do have a lot of balls to print what I'm going to show you next, which is about your data. At the top, I guess that is their slogan. I particularly like the part at the bottom that reads, what if we could build a national data warehouse containing information about every person in the United States? Thanks to secret interpretations of the Patriot Act, top secret Fourth Amendment exceptions allowed by the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, and broad corporation at the local, state, and federal level, we can. Damn. Now, getting back to the simulation itself, how accurate is it? Well, it is probably no more accurate than foretelling a future that can be rewritten or changed. Because in reality, the future does not exist, only the present. So any number of events can throw a prediction way off. My problem with this is, what's going to happen when you ultimately mix an advanced AI system with the brain of a quantum computer? Throw in some downloaded memories and you've got yourself a fully functional matrix. All you would have to do then is tweak the rendering so that everything looks real, and get people to voluntarily plug themselves in. And if I had to guess, people willingly submitting to plugging themselves into an alternate extended reality is probably what started the Matrix in the first place. Then the machines decided that they wanted everybody plugged in. So came the war between man and machine. I also thought they should have made a prequel to that movie. It would be very interesting to see how we go from where we are today to that type of environment. Which again, with everything that is going on, with all the very rapidly breaking technology, this seems to be another case where science fiction becomes reality. Speaking of reality, I want to discuss something that although right now appears to be just a novelty, may become something more than we bargained for. And that is VR, virtual reality. Something many of us dreamed about as children. How cool it would be to be in the game. Now with the computer hardware and software engines we have today, you can sit at home and build your own virtual world, compatible with most of the virtual reality hardware available. In fact, many of the low-end designs allow you to use your cell phone as the video screen. And this is the first problem. You literally have the cell phone running on high power in front of your poor eyes, 3 inches from your face. I don't even like sitting next to my cell phone. Can you imagine someone playing an entire video game with that thing in their face, up until the point to where their phone dies? It is a guaranteed headache, and perhaps something else later on down the line. You see, when you put on one of these headsets, you are looking at a split screen behind 2 wide-angle lenses. This gives the illusion of depth. If you were to play one of these games looking straight ahead at all times, then the images would converge together rather naturally, and your eyes would be in a pretty restful position. But the moment you start rolling your eyes to any corner of the screen, your eyes have to do extra work in order to get those 2 images to converge. This causes eye strain, headaches, fatigue, which are pretty alarming symptoms, but the chances of this design having any long-term negative effects on your eyes is of right now pretty low. Now there is a concern with blue light, and that is exactly what video screens emit. It is a high energy color that is on the part of the spectrum that could be damaging to your eyes with overexposure, with short and long-term use. And the problem is not that the VR headset emits this light, it is that every other video screen also emits that light. You take staring into a computer screen or TV screen or even your cell phone all day, and then you throw on a VR headset, yeah, I think that could be quite unhealthy. More people should be wearing protective blue blocker lenses while using these devices anyway. How many people have trouble sleeping right after staring into their cell phone before bed? It's the light. You should be in darkness or very low light for at least an hour before you close your eyes to sleep. Aside from what wearing these headsets does to your eyes, what is it doing to your brain? We already know that when you put your cell phone up to your head to talk on it, it is heating up your skull. Why do you think the screen goes out when you bring it to your head and clicks back on when you take it away? Aside from conserving the power on your battery, the phone gets extremely hot when the screen has been on for too long. One of the things I recommend doing is reading through the warning in your cell phone. You can go into settings on your phone, go to About Device, and you will find the legal information. And within the legal information, there is a section called Health and Safety. Although obviously written by a lawyer in favor of the cell phone company, they downplay the risk, and it is quite interesting what they have to say. The FCC actually had the audacity to state, under notice and cautions, failure to observe these instructions may lead to the suspension or denial of phone services to the offender, or legal action, or both. I'm telling you folks, you really have to take it upon yourself to understand the risk here, because they don't care. And if you think a company won't put out a product because it is unsafe, think again. To top this all off, what are the psychological effects of engaging in VR? You know, there is a difference between a fully immersive experience versus one where you are just holding a game controller in front of a screen. It's not that hard to use a weapon like an axe in a video game against the character, but when you are in a fully immersive digital environment and the characters look real, how is it going to affect you to use those weapons that feel like they are in your hands? For example, there have been studies to examine this. Stanford University's Virtual Human Interaction Lab does just that. Although the effects are temporary and immediate, they will tell you, yes, this technology can be used to affect a person's psychology. Of course, no one can stand having the headset on for more than 20 minutes at a time, so the tests don't get very far. But they do have a website if you are interested in educating yourself about this technology. This is what concerns me the most, the application of this technology. Granted, we could use this technology to aid in medical procedures, architectural design, piloting, remote operation of robots and vehicles, exploration. There could be many benefits to this technology, but it is going to come with the price of negative consequences, such as escapism, where people will develop a need to get away from it all. Some will most likely develop addictions. Children will be mostly affected by this, and what often happens, even today, the more a child is wrapped up in their own little virtual world, the more they want to separate themselves from the world in which their parents live. How many of you have kids that don't want you to watch what they're watching? They don't want you to play their video games. The internet and VR combined is really going to take your kid to Neverland. Now, of course, people are going to say, well, this could help children with learning. It could help them with pain and other disabilities. It could help them with this problem or that problem. This is how they are going to justify this. Think about the children. You know, they made a movie about this already, folks. It's called The Lawnmower Man. He had problems too, but everybody knows what happened to him. I'm not against technology, but we have a bunch of electronic crap around us already. This is just another one of those things that, if used in moderation, depending on the application, could help many people who need it. But there always exist the dangers of overuse, misuse, and abuse. And those are the costs to having this technology out there. I just hope people can be responsible enough to not let us get to the point where a person can no longer tell the difference between this reality and someone's digital creation.